Booking a cruise? Discover the best cruise lines for your next adventure and learn how to avoid these common cruise booking mistakes. Hi, I'm Mardi and welcome to Linky Lifestyle. Here we share the wealth of travel experiences that my husband Michael and I have gathered over the years so you can plan fun and unforgettable holidays. Are you keen to book a cruise but you're feeling uncertain about which cruise lines are truly the best? Don't stress. First, I'll give you an in-depth guide to find the perfect cruise line for you, building on information in my previous cruise booking video. And then I'll let you in on essential tips to steer clear of cruise booking mistakes. Watch to the end to find out how I made a huge expensive mistake and get my tip for avoiding it. Trust me, it's something not many people know and it could cost you heaps if you forget. In my earlier video, how to find the best cruises for your cruise vacation, I briefly covered some cruise line information and I've received requests to dive deeper into this topic. If you caught that video and want to skip ahead to the next booking mistake, feel free to use the chapter markers in the description below. Now, let's focus on ocean cruises. Not yachts, expeditions, or river cruises. Within the English-speaking market, I've identified 23 cruise lines. Yes, 23. I used to think there were only about 3, but there's actually a broad spectrum to cater to all travel styles, budgets, and preferences. These cruise lines can be divided into 3 categories. Mass market lines, which account for 26%, premium lines at 43%, and luxury or ultra-luxury lines at 31%. If we looked at it by the number of ships, total passenger capacity, or gross tonnage, mass market lines would dominate due to their massive ships like Royal Caribbean's Icon of the Seas. Generally, the higher you go on the luxury scale, the smaller the ships get, and more often than not, the higher the fare, the better the inclusions. So don't overlook luxury brands. By the time you add in the costs of meals, drinks, entertainment, Wi-Fi, and shore excursions, the difference may not be that significant, especially if you fancy a premium cabin or a ship within a ship experience on a mass market vessel. Mass market ships are usually geared towards vibrant, late night entertainment, kids clubs, and activities for multi-generational families. They typically offer more restaurants, bars, and entertainment venues, along with fun activities like water slides, go-karts, and laser tag. But just because the ships are vibrant doesn't mean you have to be a kid or a party animal to enjoy them. There's something for everyone on these ships. That's why they're often the larger vessels sailing the oceans. Well, they need to be to accommodate all that fun on board. Premium cruise lines also boast multiple dining options, bars, entertainment, and some activities, but they tend to have a more subdued atmosphere. Think singers and musicians rather than big Broadway-style productions. Evening venues close earlier too, creating a more relaxed vibe. Luxury lines, on the other hand, have the smallest ships, meaning fewer restaurants and activities. Activities may include classic shuffleboard and table tennis, and you might find they attract an older demographic, leading to a quieter atmosphere. But don't be fooled. This doesn't mean younger travellers should shy away. A big bonus is that smaller ships can access more ports without the need for tendering and a greater variety of ports, unlike the larger vessels. For me, the choice between these lines often hinges on whether you're keen on exploring ports or soaking up relaxation. Port-heavy itineraries can be tiring but rewarding with walking tours and sightseeing galore. Alternatively, if you're yearning for a chill getaway, consider a cruise with more sea days or one where you stay on the ship while in port. When everyone else is in port, you can enjoy the peace of a quieter ship. Michael and I are heading to North America later this year and we've planned 2 cruises. We've selected a higher-end premium line in a smaller ship for our Canada and New England trip because that focuses on the ports. But for our Bermuda cruise, we chose a mass market ship because it's heavy on the sea days and we want to experience the amazing variety of onboard activities. We're particularly hoping that Michael will be allowed to drive the go-karts, since his vision impairment means he doesn't drive in real life and he loves driving. And if you're a beach lover, many mass market and some premium lines have their own islands in the Caribbean where you can spend a lazy day during your cruise soaking up the sun. And the bonus? Most meals, drinks, drinks and Wi-Fi are included if you have a package, just like on board the ship. So think about who's coming along, what everybody loves, and whether you're all about exploring ports or just unwinding on the ship. Now, let's shift gears to mistakes you need to avoid when booking your cruise. But first, if you're enjoying this, how about hitting that subscribe button? We're working hard to grow our baby channel, and our first milestone we'd like to hit is to reach 1,000 subscribers. Your support costs you nothing, but it's a massive help to us. And with a bigger channel, we can continue to assist you in planning those fun and unforgettable getaways, whether on land or at sea. Planning a holiday is exciting and fun, but let's be real, no one wants to think about negative scenarios. However, it's crucial to prepare for contingencies. Overlooking travel insurance can be one of the biggest mistakes you'll ever make. In 2013, Michael had a major retinal detachment while we were in New York. Yes, the back of his eye came loose. You might not know this, but Michael is nearly blind in one eye, and his so-called good eye is extremely short-sighted with about 5% vision. The detachment occurred in the good eye. Had it not been fixed, he would have been completely blind. We rushed to an ophthalmologist who immediately referred him to a top retinal surgeon. Luckily, we were in New York, home to one of the best surgeons in the world. Even now, over a decade later, Michael's specialist in Australia still praises the incredible job that New York surgeon did. But let me tell you, it did not come cheap. The hospital alone was going to cost us over $30,000 US. And then there was the doctor's fees and medication. You probably see where I'm going with this. Thankfully, we had travel insurance, so we ended up paying very little out of pocket. But if we hadn't, we would have needed to find that money, and there was no alternative. Michael had to undergo surgery immediately. Now picture yourself on board a ship in the middle of the ocean and needing urgent medical care. You might be having a heart attack, a stroke, or you might have injured yourself seriously. And this can happen to anyone, regardless of age. If you require emergency treatment, not only will you or your family need to cover the medical costs, but you may also need to be airlifted off the ship. And trust me, that does not come cheap. As the saying goes, if you can't afford travel insurance, you can't afford to travel. Don't risk making what could be the costliest mistake of your life. Get that travel insurance. Well, that took a serious turn. I bet you didn't expect a video about cruise bookings to turn heavy, right? Now let's talk about timing, because that can lead to a costly mistake too. When it comes to securing the best price for your cruise, there are two schools of thought. Book early or book late. The theory behind early bookings is that prices tend to rise as time goes on. So if you book 2 years in advance when the itineraries launch, you'll lock in the best price for your cruise and any packages you add on. On the flip side, booking late usually means doing so after the final payment, which is about 90 days before departure. At this stage, many people who booked early drop out because of financial issues or a scheduling conflict. The cruise line is eager to fill up the ship and may drop prices to attract last-minute bookings. I see advantages and disadvantages to both approaches. Booking 2 years out can feel intimidating. What if your plans change? The wait can be agonizing, and tying up your deposit for so long feels risky. We've been there. Earlier this year, we booked 2 cruises for early 2026 to celebrate Michael's big 60th birthday. That meant paying out over $9,000 Australian into deposits, and we could have used that money elsewhere. Booking last minute, however, can restrict you in terms of cabin selection. Some travellers, like Gary Bembridge from Tips for Travellers, won't settle for anything less than their desired cabin. Others, like Emma from Emma Cruises, often opt for guaranteed cabins for cost effectiveness. Are you more like Gary or Emma? We tend to prefer choosing our cabin, but we've never had a bad experience booking a guaranteed cabin. And then what if you wind up missing the dream cruise altogether because you waited too long to book? Decisions, and the only person who can decide what's best for you is you. Back to cabins. Booking the wrong one can be a significant mistake. There are generally 6 cabin types. Inside cabins that have no windows, ocean view cabins that have a window that doesn't open, balcony cabins with, you guessed it, a balcony, mini suites, which are slightly larger balcony cabins, suites which have multiple rooms, and owner's suites, which are the penthouse version of a suite. Prices start with inside cabins and soar upwards. I doubt many travellers can spend more without weighing their options first. Are you aiming to keep costs low? An inside cabin might seem like a smart choice, but can you endure being cooped up in what's essentially a metal box without windows? We've never booked one before, but we have an inside cabin on Norwegian Prima for later this year, and I'll admit, I'm a little nervous. But with so many venues and activities on Prima, we likely won't spend much time in the cabin. My preferred option is always to book at least a balcony cabin. I love having fresh air and that stunning view available instantly. Think about what suits your desires and budget before choosing a cabin type. And let's not forget cabin location. There are 3 key factors here. Seasickness. If you're prone to it, nab a midship cabin on a lower deck to minimize movement. Noise. Many people suggest picking a cabin surrounded by other cabins, without restaurants or bars overhead or below, and away from pool decks, and avoiding elevators or crew access points nearby. Some people are more sensitive to noise than others. Are you one of them? Proximity to venues. What areas will you use often? If your meals will largely come from the buffet and it's 10 decks away, that could be a hassle. Or to look at it positively, more of a workout. To avoid mistakes, decide on your cabin type first, then consider the location based on seasickness, noise tolerance, and your desired proximity to onboard venues. When searching for a cruise, the prices shown will be per person and may not include all associated costs, depending on your location. In the US, prices are often quoted without port fees, taxes, and gratuities. Now, California just implemented a law stating that all advertised prices must include fees and taxes, prompting many cruise lines to include port fees and taxes in their advertised cost in the US now. But you'll still see an additional daily gratuities charge added to your onboard account, unless you're booking a cruise from Australia or New Zealand, because our prices already include these costs. Inclusions are important too. You'll always have access to meals included in your fare, but specialty restaurants on board typically come with an added cost. If you've heard rave reviews about one of these restaurants, you'll want to keep that extra expense in mind when planning your budget. Typically, you'll see drinks included like water, juice, tea, and filter coffee, with the specifics varying between cruise lines. Some premium and luxury lines include beer and wine at lunch and dinner, but the majority do not offer a wide range of complimentary drinks. If you don't drink much, it may save you money to pay as you go. Conversely, some find it easier to opt for drinks package to limit onboard spending stress. I'm definitely in the drinks package camp. I adore a good cocktail, and it feels like they're free when I have a package. Wi-Fi is another variable. While luxury lines often include some form of Wi-Fi, options vary. Some people might prefer to go offline on their holiday, while others, me again, can't live without connectivity. Even when Wi-Fi is available, sometimes it's limited to just one device or specific tasks like email. So if you want access for social media, streaming, multiple devices, or anytime use, consider researching packages to see what you'll be paying. Avoid financial surprises by ensuring you understand the total cost of your cruise. You may need to add together the fare for each person, or if traveling alone, a single supplement, port fees and taxes, daily gratuities, specialty meals, drinks packages, Wi-Fi, and shore excursions. That appealing low price you are attracted to can look drastically different once all the extras are added in. This next tip isn't a booking mistake, but it's crucial to keep in mind while cruising. Remember to put your phone in airplane mode. Once you're sailing away from land, your phone may connect to the maritime network, which is extremely costly. Even if you think you're not using it, receiving an email or text can lead to costs that can quickly add up. If you're using the ship's Wi-Fi, you can still do that while in airplane mode. When visiting ports, you may want to turn airplane mode off, but don't forget, your mobile network provider might charge you for international roaming depending on your plan and the destination. I ended up costing myself over $50 Australian on a recent trip to Singapore and London because I used my provider's data roaming in Singapore, then switched to an eSIM for London. But I didn't realise I had to switch off data roaming on my provider's website when I left Singapore, despite having it turned off on my phone. My provider kept charging me daily. I was furious, but I couldn't complain. It was lost in the fine print. Before we finish, I encourage you to check out even more of our travel tips and unforgettable experiences. Share your favourite cruise secrets in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more exciting travel content. Until next time, happy sailing. Bye for now.